tremendous strides forward.
The benefits of a meritocratic system have been extraordinary. People who for generations were held down within a caste-like hierarchy have finally been allowed to fulfill themselves in whatever way their talents allow. Race, class, gender, age, all of these have stopped being obstacles to advancement. An element of justice has entered into the distribution of rewards. Alongside meritocratic educational reform has come efforts to promote equal opportunities in the workplace. We're repeatedly told that through effort and diligence, we can make it to the top. This is Chilwood, a factory in Wigan that produces toiletries, packaging, and over 400 sanitary towels a second.
I think anybody who really decides that they're going to go for it, the opportunities may not be in the exact job or position that they're currently occupying, but there will be opportunities round the corner almost. It happens. We've got good examples of it here. People who work hard and go for it will be recognised, because we aren't over-brimming with talent, but, you know, you find it, you've got to use it, and it happens. There's no doubt at all. It happens.
I started with Chilwood in 1986 as a service person, which was for a 3-month trial basis. During that period, an opportunity came available within our SAMPRO division, which I applied for as a service person in that department, more permanent position. I was successful in achieving that position. I then moved on within SAMPRO to become a line operative and then a number 1 operative. About 1994, I was asked to go on to our cling film department of our retail food wraps. I was then offered a position of senior supervisor within our retail foil division. Following that, a position became available in 1998 for a production manager within our personal care department. I was then offered my present position, which is the manufacturing manager. So I've worked my way through the factory from right at the bottom, through every department, up to where I am now.
There's a pride in the way that many people now speak about how they got to the top. A pride that would have been impossible in the days before meritocracy, when you only got places because of who your parents were. Earning good money and having an important job title indicate more positive things about you than they ever used to. But unfortunately, in a meritocracy, having no money and no impressive job title also say many more things about you than they ever used to.
I don't enjoy it at all, tell you the truth. I find it very monotonous, very boring, unrewarding. There's no challenge in the job. It's the same thing day in, day out. You just get used to this routine, and you come in, do the same job you did yesterday, and it's the same thing the day after. And I've had enough of it, in all honesty. Meritocracy is something I'd like to believe in, but from where I am, from my position in life, it's hard to grasp. It's not something I see day in, day out around me. It's a struggle, really, in this environment to try and rise. You feel like you're banging your head against the wall sometimes.
There's a darker side to meritocracy. If the successful merit their success, it necessarily follows that the unsuccessful have to merit their failure. In a meritocratic age, an element of justice seems to enter into the distribution of success as well as failure. Financial failure becomes associated with a sense of shame that the unsuccessful of old had thankfully been spared. Now the question of why, if one's in any way clever, able or good, you're still unsuccessful becomes far more difficult as a question for those of low status to have to answer. The rich at the same time come to seem as though they're deserving of what's going right for them. And this radically undermines the plausibility of a lot of left-wing socialist thinking, based as it was on the idea that the rich are essentially thieving, plundering bastards. For a flavour of left-wing disaffection and a pint of ale, I've come to a meeting of the Socialist Alliance of Wigan, who meet every week to hear a band and plan the revolution. To them, ideas of meritocracy are little more than pernicious lies. It seems to me that there's a kind of interesting, potentially sad conflict between the idea of meritocracy and the ideas of the left. A lot of left-wing thinking has been based on the idea that those on the top are somehow there because they've robbed someone, they've exploited someone, or they've generally behaved in unethical ways. It's fairly clear, right? So there's a kind of conflict between meritocracy and the left. And I just want to raise that with you. How do you read that conflict? What does that make you think?
There is no meritocracy in this country. What there is an illusion that people can actually get on in the world. They can get bigger cars, they can get bigger houses. And it's like chasing a dream. That as socialists, we would say that in any society, those that rule society and maintain their rule by a combination of force and fraud. I mean, force being...
And what's the fraud?
Well, obviously the force is the police and bunk it.
Yeah.
But the fraud is the idea that somehow you can get to the top. And that's a fraud.
So you think in our current society you can be clever, energetic and diligent and you will not get to the top?
Yes, that's right. Well, the illusion is that actually you can get somewhere. Actually, you can get somewhere, you can get a nice house, you can get a nice car, and you can get all those things, and it's true that people do get those things, but they get them on the basis of debt. They get them on the basis of insecurity. We all want to improve the quality of our lives. But what we find is that the nature of the society we live in militates against the majority doing that.
Socialism used to console by telling us that we personally were off the hook for low status. But the argument has lost much of its force. Winners make their own luck, now runs the harsh modern line. Living in a meritocracy means living in a highly fluid society where we're no longer divided into lord and peasant, aristocrat and commoner, but where we're said to have a choice about what we want to make of our lives, whether to be a winner or a loser. If we fail in the struggle, we're likely to end up ashamed, angry, but significantly without anyone else to blame for our misfortune. And even if we succeed, we'll know that in these precarious times, our status is unlikely to remain safe for long. In so many fields, we're only now as good as our very last performance. So we've ended up with a curious paradox. Our wealthy, opportunity-filled societies have had the odd effect of hugely raising our levels of status anxiety.